You're one big beaver, eh?
One big beaver. Don't kid me.
And welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben, and this is my review for a film that's now on Netflix UK. It came out in 2014, and it's called Zombeavers. That's right, we're talking about Zombeavers. I was pretty excited when I saw this film coming up on Netflix's list of films that they're adding to it. I had not actually seen it, and I just love B-horror movies, especially in this type of genre, very tongue-in-cheek. And so I thought, okay, let's give it a go. A fun weekend turns into madness and horror for a bunch of groupies looking for fun in a beaver-infested swamp. So the story for this film is pretty much what you expect. If you've seen 80s horror films or Friday the 13th, any of those where young teens go to a lake and they want to party, they want to have sex and get naked and do drugs and get, have alcohol, and then a few minutes later into the film, like literally within the first 10 minutes, they're naked and having sex, and then a few minutes later, people begin to die. That is this film, except with Zombeavers. Cue the classic truck hitting somebody and a barrel of something toxic rolling into the river, and then the Zombeavers are created by them eating or drinking this toxic fluid that turns them not into a Spider-Man but into a Zombeaver. I have the feeling that Chris Stuckman should do a hilariosity for this, because it's definitely one of those films that can be dissected into its just craziness of how on earth did this film get even made. If you take this film seriously, if you come into a film called Zombeavers and think it's going to be a serious film, then I don't know what you're doing. First of all, it's called Zombeavers, but you have to just enjoy it for what it is. It's a B-horror movie, B-horror comedy movie, that is not taking itself seriously. There is 20% of this film where it takes itself a little too seriously, and for that 20% it really doesn't work. But for the 80%, there are Zombeavers, and there are people that are affected by the Zombeavers, like you would if you get bitten by a zombie and you turn. They have that, and that for me was hilarious. There was a moment where there was a turning that I literally spat out what I was drinking and just kind of fully belly laughed, because I wasn't expecting it to do what it did. Without doing spoilers, if you can do spoilers for a film like this, there's also ridiculous edits in this where certain things just don't make sense, and you're saying things like, well, why didn't they just go around? Why didn't they, if you try to take logic in this film, you're gonna be very frustrated. You just kind of have to sit back and go, okay, this bit they're gonna have sex, even though they know that there are zombies around the room trying to eat them alive. But now's the time for us to have sex, man. It's that type of film. It's the tongue-in-cheek that you expect it to be. I would say that the acting is pretty bad, although I wouldn't come into a film like this expecting it to be great. I would say that the filmmaking is also pretty amateurish, which is surprising, because this comes from Ruben, I think his name is, the director, who also wrote the script show for I think it's the 83rd Oscar ceremony, so he obviously has some clout and knows what he's doing within filmmaking. He also is the gas attendant, the creepy gas attendant, so if you want to know what he looks like, he's in the film. And he also recently wrote and directed the new Critters series, so if you like that, then you know what you're kind of getting into. The best thing by far is the gore and blood effects in this. I think that they had a lot of fun with this film. It's pretty gory when it needs to be, and that's totally what you expect from a film like this. There is a lot of nakedness, so if you get offended by gore and swearing and nakedness and sex, you're not going to enjoy this film. But if you know what a B-horror movie is, you're going to enjoy it. It's B-horror comedy for the most part. It's definitely more in the comedy. As long as you don't take it seriously, you're probably really going to enjoy this film. If you switch on, you push play on Zombeavers, then you're more than likely going to enjoy this film. I would say stay to the end of the credits as well. Well, watch the credits, because you can see how much they did not take this film seriously because of the way they filmed it, the fun they had on set. You can see that they do a few of the takes, a bit of the outtakes, a bit of the gag reel, and that was really cool. And then right at the end of the credits, most were probably switched off. There's a little bit segment of what could possibly happen in a sequel. Since it's 2014 and we haven't had the sequel since then, I'm taking it that we're not going to get one, but it is a world where something else could happen, which I thought was a little fun bit. So a little like an Easter egg clip there right at the end, so do stay for that, or just skip to that bit. I was surprised, even though the filmmaking was amateurish amateur-ish. There are definitely moments where they really tried to be creative. There was a contra zoom, which I just thought was amazing. It did its job. Like you have a big moment happening, and then you see the woman's face, and then the background just kind of blurs and straightens out. That's a contra zoom, and I thought that worked really well. So it goes in and out at the same time. That was great. There were a couple of other moments with filmmaking techniques, which I appreciated. The score did what it needed to do, and actually was one of the better things about the film, because it places you in that zone. It feels like an 80s, 90s cheap movie, and it really adds to that kind of atmosphere that they were going for. So I liked that. I actually really liked the camaraderie between the guy friends. That I thought they were believable when they were being playful. There was one particular actor, I thought that he was believable and funny in that moment. He did what he needed to do. The girls were very stereotyped, and the sexism and all of that is very like is very not a film that you could make today. But for the time, 2014, even though a few years ago, that was the sort of film we were getting, and it's definitely like nods towards those late 80s, early 90s films that we were getting. I would say that the prosthetics in this, the actual creature features prosthetics that were hilarious. There was literally a moment when a beaver jumped at a protagonist and kind of froze there in mid-air for someone to shoot it. It was one of the weirdest shots of the film. There are other moments like that where you see animatronic beaver heads move, and they just look so mechanical. So you do have to suspend your disbelief completely. If you're expecting to see a realistic Zombeaver looking creatures, then I would say that you're going to be disappointed. It's just a fun horror movie, and it's on Netflix now if you're in the UK. If it's not on where you are, do check around streaming services. I'm sure it's been around for a while. You'll find it quite easily. Let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite zombie movie, but more of an obscure one rather than your traditional zombie movie? What is your favorite obscure traditional zombie movie? I should apologize about my hair. I haven't had a haircut since we've been in COVID, and so I've been doing it myself. My wife has been trying to like help me with it. I end up having a Steven Seagal haircut, so sorry about that. I hope you like this type of film review. I'm trying to go for a bit more genre-esque thing. So the first genre that I'm going to be talking about, looking back at a few, looking forward, is the zombie genre in its full. I'm trying to cover those that are on Netflix at the moment, some original, some not so much. But if there are any zombie films, as I'm doing that genre for the moment, or just that theme, let me know in the comments below, and I'll try and check those out and do reviews for them. Thanks so much for watching this review, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.